Man, okay, so every now and then something really great comes your way, and so you move things around, which is what we are doing today. We're moving some things around. Obviously, this is not Friday, it's Thursday. So I thought to myself, do I want to do this pre-recorded? And I thought, no, this topic about motherhood, it needs to be live. So we are talking about Keke Palmer, Rihanna, and motherhood. Why must women give up their identity when they choose motherhood? Let's get into it. Oh, okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack, and this is Girl. Listen, and I don't do too much gossip unless it makes sense to talk about it. And this topic, it makes sense to talk about it. So first of all, we are streaming to Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. If you're on YouTube, we highly, highly invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Come here and vibe out with us. And if you're on LinkedIn, I like LinkedIn, I really do. But sometimes LinkedIn be LinkedIning. They get a little funny, right? So if you want to come over to YouTube, you can join us there. Like it's cool. So we would love to know where you are tuning in from, either live or in the replay. We would love to know. We got my sister here. Well, hey, what's going on now, sis? Would love to know your thoughts about this topic. Would love to know it. And my mama's here too. All right, the family's showing up. Okay. I see you. This is going to be interesting because I am only a mother through marriage. So, but I'm watching from the outside, right? Like I'm looking at how things are going down from the outside. So my perspective is just like what I see, going down. We also have Gary here. Hey, shout out to Gary Jackson. Hello to you, sir. Thank you for tuning in. And I just want to remind everybody the question of the day, the hour, the 30 minutes. It's about women and why when women choose motherhood, they have to give up their entire identity. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. No, it's not a little. It is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So just to bring everybody up to speed, just in case you don't know, because I don't do too much gossip, but just in case you didn't know, Keke Palmer is a Virgo. Okay. And there are some Virgos I will vibe with. She's one of them. Right? So back a few weeks or what have you, there was a comment made, and I think maybe even a month now, there's a comment made by Keke's boyfriend, the father of her child, right? And she was at an Usher concert. Usher decided, to serenade her and everything. Yeah, you at a concert, is what it is. But the comment he made was, it's the outfit though. You a mom. Now, surely this guy knew who Keke was when he met her, right? I don't know what Keke was wearing the first day he met her, but he knew who she was, right? Like, people are who they are. And the idea of meeting someone and then, in my opinion, changing them is just ridiculous. Now, that is ridiculous. Like, you're not here to change anybody. If anything, you can work on yourself. But why somebody would change for you is like a question mark. The other part of that, though, is why would a woman have to change who she is now because she's a mother? Where does that come from? And why is it? And I will tell you, when I look at, and we're going to talk about it because, I had to go ask AI about the moral obligations of mothers. This is going to be interesting. So when I looked at it, I said to myself, well, this is Keke. Keke's always been Kekeing. Like that's who she is, right? And just because she's a mother now doesn't mean that she is less than. than who she was before. Now, let me tell you about the Virgo part of Keke, which I absolutely am here for. I am here for it. I'm here for all of it because I thought to myself, if anybody would do something like this, it would be a Virgo, hands down, because Virgos are we are a petty zodiac sign. We are. We hold grudges. We don't forget things, and we are petty. We do petty 100%. So I thought it was really cute and perfect that Keke decided to do this video with Usher. Now the song is called Boyfriend, right? Like if your boyfriend is looking for you, he should probably like look for me, and there you are. So she does this video and it is the best. It is the best video. If you have not seen it on YouTube, I highly advise you go out and you check it. It's Keke she's in her dreams. She believes she's Usher and everything, but it ends with her saying that she missed the concert. She overslept. She's so tired because I'm a mom, and I thought, oh man, talk about perfect pettiness. I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's a great video. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments. If you've seen the video, it is the best. But then it brought me back to something. Like my sister said, facts. It brought me back to something. And this goes back to that conversation about motherhood, right? Because when I was looking at that comment from her boyfriend, we'll just say boyfriend, I don't want to say baby daddy, but a boyfriend, there were people on both sides. So you don't want to assume that because of your gender, you're going to agree with somebody. But there were men saying, yeah, she's a mother now. That's not how a mother should dress. There were women agreeing that she's a mother now. This is not what mothers do. You should have more respect for yourself. I thought to myself, okay, so when exactly did we decide that when women choose the role of motherhood, they just give up everything about themselves? So hear me out, right? And for those of you who are mothers, whether you're watching live or in the replay, let me know your experience. Because again, I'm on the outside, but I'm checking this, right? I'm checking stuff because I know folks who, have kids and things. When you become a mother, everything is about the kid, right? The mother is expected to drop everything when the child is sick. The mother is expected to be the primary caretaker. The mother is expected to do all of, if you will, the caregiving, the going to the PTA, the going to the plays, the being the chaperone. The mother is expected to pretty much erase who she is as an individual. Start wearing muumuus and become Donna Reed and just wait hand and foot on everyone in the household, right? And then you find that there are women who have given up themselves for 18 or so years, but how many kids they have because they had to be there for their kid. Think about it. When a child is sick, who are they calling first? They typically call the mother, right? Child has to go to the doctor. It's the mother. We have these unwritten rules that it's the mother's responsibility, but tied to that is that women have this extra moral obligation that they now have to be held to because, well, you're a mother. It's almost like they become, I don't know, Puritans or something. I mean, I just happened to notice it. And I think about when I was working my full-time jobs, the number of, we had a lot of women in the office. And the number of those women who had to call out or make arrangements or try to figure out how to manage the 3-month-old and taking this child to pre-K. And I was like, but you're married. Where is your husband in this conversation? Why is he not being part of this? And there's this whole idea that you're just less than. You just put yourself in the background because until your child is 18 or whatever, you're all about their life. You're about their their karate class and their, gymnastics class. Like it's mother to the rescue. Forget, even if the father showed up, the mother wasn't there. So when the fact that he made this, I hate to say ridiculous. No, it's I don't even call it sexist, but but you know what? It's tiptoeing, because now it makes it seem as if, oh, well, you really shouldn't wear that because you're a mother, as if mothers cannot be seen as sexy. And if we think about some of the 1980s videos, commercials, movies, you have the mother who is ragged, who's just trying to figure it out. Does anybody remember She-Devil with Roseanne Barr? Right? And here she was toiling, trying to keep the kids together, keep the house together, cook and clean. And I mean, Roseanne was, she was a little haggard back then. She did her part for the movie. But it was that whole idea that here Roseanne is trying to keep house, and then Meryl Streep being the beautiful single, supposedly single person, author, is living this beautiful life, and her husband goes for her because she keeps herself up and she's firm and fit and she works out. And it's like, why is it always on the woman to give up who she is? Now, I'm not going to talk about when we get married, how the person who jumps through most of the hoops is the woman, if she so decides to do so. Because even taking your husband's last name, it can erase who you are in terms of word search, right? Now, I'm hyphenated. My husband said that I should be hyphenated, so I went with it. But think about it. Like, even me being hyphenated, I had to go to the Social Security office, get a new Social Security card, get a new passport, get a new driver's license. Like, we have to do all these things, right? All this stuff had to happen, but everything falls on the woman. Now, before I take this sip, because I'm going to sip on something today, I'm just getting started. I'm going to come to these comments. Hold on. Let me come to the comments real quick, because I just want to know. Hey, shout out to Erica, who is here. Erica says, I put my career on hold, couldn't travel for gigs, had to carry insurance. Hey, here's the deal. I thought about this 2 years ago when they were talking about women who were having kids later. It's almost as if we have to make a choice. Do we do career in college first and then just get married later, have kids later? Or do we do family and then do the career later? There's a handful that have done both. I mean, but it's not like it was easy, right? It's not like it was his dad didn't. Well, see, prime example right there, right? Like, there are just different things that are unspoken but expected of women. Shout out to my kindred spirit. Hello, Peggy. Thank you for tuning in. Hello. Erica also says, I have 3 kids. Her oldest is 25. Youngest is 8. None have ever ridden the school bus. She's had to do all the carpooling. Just saying. Spencer, shout out to Spencer. Oh, we may get a little something today. He said, so he's stopping to say hi because he's at the light. He's driving. But thank you, Spencer. I would, if you want to share your thoughts later, I would love to know. I would love to know. But these are those things that we're looking at, because it is different for the woman. So my sister says, I'm pretty sure what caught his eye about Keke was her half-naked outfits on stage, perhaps, right? Plus, he made reels showing what a nice rack she had. He was just in his feelings. Okay. I want to come back to that comment, because I'm gonna share a little bit. This is where we're going. Oh, and Erica did not change her name. It's too much work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to go in and change your name. Like, I back and forth having to go in there and make appointments and prove that I am who I say that I am. It's a lot if you decide to change your name to do all of that. It's a lot. Now, I want to go back to this comment from my sister here, because this is what's funny. Like, a lot of guys, and I'm gonna throw this question out here too, because we got some gentlemen in the crowd, whether again you're watching live or in the replay. But Guys will date who they date because they're like, oh, I'm attracted to her, da 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 da. And then when you become a couple, some guys, I don't know if they, as my sister says, get in their feelings, but some now feel as if they need to adjust the person. They need to tame this wild Mustang and make her more into some sort of mold that they had in mind, right? We also know that there are some people, both men and women, who simply date a person so that they can tame them and break them down. We know that exists too. That's the truth. Hey, shout out to Hainer. Hello, sir. I would love to get your take on this as well. Peggy says, I changed my name and it is a lot of work. However, she hates the missus, right? I'm not probably of the mister. Hey, there are so many things that are changing for us in terms of society. I know we went to a Ms., right? So it could either be Miss or Mrs. I'm just Ms. whomever. I don't actually ever use either of them, honestly, now that I think about it. I pretty much go around as GRH, Jack, something like that. That's a good question, though. Hey, and my work husband is here, Mr. Ronald Foster of Brooklyn. Hello, sir. So I want to continue with this because I want to go back to that whole idea of guys who date women who are really strong, feeling great about themselves, and doing all the things. And I am all for how Keke Palmer is doing what she does, but this chick right here, yes, Miss Rihanna herself. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about it because I love it. I love everything she is doing. I love how Rihanna, and I know it's Rihanna, but golly, I keep saying Rihanna, so please forgive me. But I love how she has said, I get that I'm pregnant, but no one ever said that I had to walk around in a tent because I was pregnant. People love pregnant women until they're not pregnant. And then at that point, it becomes, oh, you gotta lose that baby weight. And people have created, society have created this whole deal of you should have a kid and snatch back to who you were before you had a child. Now, again, I've never had a kid. I watched my sister. Okay, I tried to watch my sister give birth. It's too much. But you're spitting out a whole, 7, 8, 9, 10 pound human. And you're supposed to bounce back like Plastic Man. That's just unreal. It's unreal. But I'm trying to figure out, why is it that when a woman's pregnant, she's beautiful and she's glowing and I'm even more in love with her now that she's pregnant. And then when she's no longer pregnant, she now becomes fat. She now becomes all the things that you don't want to see, right? We got to make it make sense. But you know what I love? I love when people say, you know what? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I love how Rihanna is rewriting every single rule of the motherhood playbook. Sister girl is out there with her lace. She's doing her Fenty commercials and lingerie and pregnant belly and all of it. And I haven't heard ASAP say anything about what she's wearing. Brother seems pretty. He seems pretty cool. But think about who he was dating before she got pregnant. That woman is secure. So if you were not a secure person, you probably shouldn't have got with Keke, right? Like you probably should have said, you know what? Let me not bother, because I don't know if I can even be around a woman who brings in that kind of attention. I mean, could that be it? Now I'm going to share this. Let me share some comments, and I'm going to talk about my husband. Okay, so Erica says he thought it was okay when he did it, but how dare she make decisions on her own to show off of being sexy? Oh, that's my segue. That's my segue. And yes, Ron Foster is my work husband, and we went out plenty of places with me dressed up as I dress up. Hater says we have talked about the cultural influences on relationship structure. We have not. I would love to hear your thoughts, sir. We can come back to that, because I do want to talk about there's a place where people have this sort of possession of women that when they get into a relationship, we become property. Yes, I was in all. Thank you, right? I was in all of my glory. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was looking good. I should say we are still looking good. But I was in all of my glory when we would go out. All the glory. You know what I'm saying? We was turning all the heads. But there is this deal about women becoming possessions when they get with their man. Now, hear me out real quick. And I'm talking about my husband. I love my husband. We are like so close to 6 years. God bless us. We're gonna work this out. Trust me. He only tried it once, and I say the word try. God bless him. But I had this dress that became a tunic because it was cotton and it kind of, But I will wear an outfit until I can't figure out how to wear it anymore. Right? So a dress becomes a tunic, and then it becomes like a jacket, and then it just goes away. So I put it on, and he looked at me like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Going to work." And he says, "No wife of mine is wearing that to work." Now, let me tell you real quick. This was early on in our marriage. And I looked at my husband like, I just don't even know like who you're talking to. Like, I was just like, wait, what? I'm sorry, like what? I will tell you this. Clearly, I had to put on pants. They were coming. But I thought it was so fascinating that my husband went to a place of, where you're not wearing that. Okay, so for those who see my wedding video and any other video I have done, Gwendolyn had a wedding dress that had like her back out, and then my reception dress had like, dude, I've always worn things of that nature. So it's like, Now I say he only did it once. He hasn't ever done it again. I'm my own person. Gwendolyn's wearing what Gwendolyn wear. This is who you married beforehand. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I ever go too far. I wouldn't really consider myself modest. I'm not modest. But this is who he married, right? But I thought, I was like, oh, this is cute. This is really cute. We're not doing that. No, we are not doing that. Gary says it's the thing of how you are attracted to the woman and get with them and expect them to change because they are with you. I go back to that. It comes across to me as possessions, that women are possessions. And when they say things, well, I wouldn't want my woman, it's like, whoa, I don't belong to you. Right? Like, we're in a relationship, and for the time that the good Lord has given us each other, we are here as a couple, but there's no possession here. There isn't a place of, I have to do what you tell me to do and all of that. Like, I know what those vows said. There's a place for honor and respecting. We don't do the obey. I don't know who wrote that. I don't know who wrote that part. Because that's a joke. I don't know who wrote that. Ron says he loves a secure and strong woman. Hey, Rihanna is definitely there. Like, if you are not the person who could stand strong and tall next to her, I don't think A$AP Rocky would have ever rocked with her. I mean, like, it's just not how that works. He knows exactly who he got with, and she has been herself the entire time. But there is that unwritten assumption that when you become a mother or wife or what have you, that you are now going to change and become less than. You're in the background. For those of you who have seen Waiting to Exhale, now Angela was the background to his foreground. She gave up her whole deal, starting her business, finishing school and stuff, so he could make this whole entire thing. And then when he made it, he went out and ditched her. We've seen that. Now, at the exact same time, we have also seen women who like to brag about building a person like I made this man this way. That goes back to the whole possession thing, that there are people who want to create people and change them and craft them, and ain't nobody got time for that. Erica says, why after you have baby, it changes? Because women no longer possess something he claims to. Pregnant, she's pregnant, she's having his baby. I'm trying to understand where it came from, right? We don't know. Some of this stuff is so old and past due. It needs to be burned. And I have a lot of Viking funerals. I got a little kiddie pool in the backyard. I'm always writing down papers and things and burning stuff. It needs to be burned. Like, get rid of it already. Get rid of it. Now, I want to go. Ron already knows I can say some stuff. But I want to go to AI really quick. And this is the part that gets me. Now, keep in mind that AI is pulling stuff from what's out there on the web, right? Like this is what it's pulling. This is actually from Google's AI, their new little AI tool. And so I asked it, I said, hey, what are the moral obligations for a mother? It says the mother has a moral obligation to provide for her child's basic needs, including food, housing, education, medical care. She's also responsible for protecting her child from harm and abuse. A mother's moral obligations also include helping her child become an autonomous person, providing her child with adequate moral education, instilling values such as honesty, respect, generosity, and kindness, providing her child with experiences that enrich her life, such as musical education or sports. Yeah, they're not legally binding. However, looking after children and helping them grow into happy, well-rounded human beings is a basic human good. Okay. Now, let me give you this next screen, and then I am going to open up the floodgates, because I thought it was interesting when I asked Google again, what are the moral obligations of the father, right? And it just said that, hey, they should provide for their children's material needs. I like how now we got money in there. It's just like, it's the material needs. There's some physical protection, and then you could also throw in some emotional, social, and spiritual support. Okay. They also have a moral obligation to make sure their child is taken care of, whether by them or others. Okay, pause, flag on the play. Why is it that the father has the option to either take care of his child or find somebody else to do it? I'm sorry. I would like to know, why is it an option? Now, keep in mind, this is AI pulling stuff from the interwebs, but the mother's like, no, it's your job to take care of these things. The father, he can find somebody to take care of this kid. Like, he ain't got to be the one to take care of this kid. He can find somebody else, whether it's him or somebody else. Right. So I like how Erica says, we removed obey. She was like, hell no. And he says, what about the opposite side of that coin? Ooh, I'm looking for it. Bring it on, bruh. I've had to advise my wife at the beginning of our marriage that it's imperative that you maintain your sexy. Let's talk about it. Ooh, hater. Wait a minute. Now, does that also mean that you have to maintain your sexy? Because I just want to make sure, because we often hear that the woman must stay fit and thin, and that's why we have dad bods. We have dad bods all over TV in commercials, and they actually make fun of it, right? You know, like if you ever watch TV, and I don't watch much of it, but the next time you watch TV, I want you to count how many commercials for men are focused on erectile dysfunction or any other issues that men may have. Because just wanna. I'm curious if the two of you had this agreement that both of you had to keep up the sexy. I would like to know about that one. Ron says it is BS trying to control someone. That it is. Trust me, we know. Danny says, hey, hello, Danny. Would love to have your thoughts on this. Because again, I'm going to take a slight turn. But when we talk about parenting, there is an assumption, this goes on both sides, that mothers always get the custody of the child, which is not true. Some women are not fit to be mothers. Yeah. Should not have any kids. Should not even raise kids. Should even have possession of the children. That's equal. So when people are like, oh, well, she's the mother, she automatically gets custody. That is a no. But you have to go through the courts and stuff. But people always assume, well, she's got the baby. It's like, no, you don't get it just because you birthed it. That's not how that works. It's not how that works. Hainer says, I think we got a definition of what is considered sexy. Okay, for me, I like the looks, but that's only part of the equation. It's important to stay attractive for your mate as well. It's not only physical. Okay. All right. I do agree with that. I do agree. I mean, you have to, like, every couple has their own definition of like why, like they all know why they married their spouse. It could be for a variety of reasons, right? That's why I say beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? We cannot, as my grandmama said, I can't pick somebody's shade tree, right? There are people I'd be like, I would never have picked that person for them, but who am I to choose someone's mate, right? Like it's not my job, right? So I completely hear that you too had a discussion that, hey, for both of us, we have to maintain our level of what we define as sexy. Oh, okay. So Erica was also asking the same question, like whose standards, yours or hers? It's great. And why is it important? Was it for her or was it for you? Ooh. Okay, so Hannah's sharing that each person needs to remain sexy to their mate. You can define that's between you and your relationship. All right. But that's in terms of building a relationship, that communication is definitely in there. Like do people talk about it? Like, do you have discussions? Right? Yes, we have to sit, some people shouldn't have kids, period, both male and female. We just want to put that out there too. Just saying. But I could not help but go back to my original question, which is the mother, right? There is a deal that women typically tend to find themselves after their children have left the nest, after their kids are now in college. They are restarting their lives. They start to look at going back to school and doing other things once a kid is a certain age. Whereas you don't see society asking fathers to make the same, sacrifices. You don't see them telling them to put their career on hold while they raise a child. Now, I understand that there are some single fathers. We know that. But as a society, we also know that it is typically the mother who is asked to give up the most in the parenting relationship. That's just what it is. And so you see a lot of women going back to the workforce later, starting their career later because of that, right? So it says parents have a contractual obligation to protect, nurture, and educate their children until they can support themselves. I like how this is a different conversation here. These obligations are recognized by law, and there are penalties for not meeting them. Parents, I like how it now says parents. It didn't say, like when it was mothers, it was just mothers. But when you ask about the fathers, like, no, parents have an obligation, and parents have a moral obligation to provide their children with experiences that enrich their lives. However, they're not legally bound to do so. They don't have to do it. But it's funny how when you ask about fathers, they take out fathers to say parents. When they were talking about the mother, it was like, no, the mother is responsible for X, Y, and Z. The mother is responsible for blah, blah, and blah. There is a different way of rating it, different standards that mothers are kept to. Right? You're a bad mother. You don't go to your child's play. You don't do this. The father shows up. Okay, but but mother's not here. Right? And it just appears that you have to, the idea is you give it up. So we know there are more women who are saying, I'm not doing any of that. And I don't have to do it. I was sexy when you met me. I'm going to stay that way afterwards. And I'm going to do whatever I do. Right? Now, Rihanna just had her baby. So congrats to them. I want to see. Now, I remember an article that she did, an interview some time ago when she talked about weight. She's like, look, if you have a butt, you got gut. She's like, yeah, I got this gut and I got this here too. So it all works together. But she was talking about how she was also going to work out because she was going on tour or whatever. But this whole idea of trying to be the person you were at 20 something or before you had kids and just snap back. It's so beyond ridiculous. Then it says there is some truth to that. Your whole life is consumed by this thing, your kid. So once they are adults, we can go back to being us. And ask yourself, now, like I said, I don't have any kids. I'm an auntie, I'm a grandmother through marriage. Love all of it. I love the kids, I do. But I also knew for myself, I didn't want to be that responsible. I'm not that responsible. So I was like, yeah, that's going to be a no for Gwendolyn. It's going to be a no. Not doing it. Erica says, my 16-year-old nephew has a 2-month-old and folks were like, guess you'll have to figure out daycare. He can stay at home and that's just it. When a child is sick, who are they calling first? They're calling the mother. When they have to go to the doctor or have an errand run or do anything, they're going to the mother first. It's like the mother is just without question. She's the one who is sacrificing the most. And I know of working women who had really great positions and talked about how they were struggling or really trying to figure out how to maintain their career and still be the best mom ever, because there are just these unrealistic expectations, right? A kid is a kid. A kid doesn't know what a kid knows. A kid is a kid. That's one thing. But we know that society also puts this out there. And yes, the AI is biased. Clearly very biased, right? I'm responsible to a T, Ron. For another human, that's going to be a no. Gwendolyn is good for Gwendolyn, and that's about it. That is about it. I can tell you that. But I will say this again, as we're coming, boy, this time runs fast when you get there. I'm gonna say it again. I love this new wave of motherhood that is showing up, right? I love how people are challenging our current status quo. And there is nothing against traditional. There's nothing against it. However, what you do in your house and what you consider to be traditional is your business. Like, that's just what it is, right? There are some folks who allow their kids to call them by their first name. That is their tradition. Tell you right now, I would never even try to call my mama by her first name. I think I dreamed it once. I dreamed it, and she kind of looked at me like, so wouldn't even dare try. Wouldn't even dare try it, right? But rewriting these society rules that we have for ourselves, how we define beauty, how we define family, how we define love, how we define self-love, how we work, all those things. We're at a place where it is time for something new. I'm here for it. Gwendolyn is here for it, promoting it, doing all the things. I mean, this is the life that we're living. And for those who feel like, oh my God, I just have to clutch my pearls, and I would like to revisit that possession conversation, because it is, right? Responsible, rational, not respected, Ron. Goodness gracious. That is a conversation, because people say it like, my husband would never let me. And your man doesn't want to see you out here like that in the streets. And what? Wait, what? But I mean, think about it. If you look at where we are now with women being able to choose for their body, healthcare and other things, right? We're still second class. I may feel like I'm doing some stuff until I go in to want to do some stuff. And then I am told, yeah, I don't really know if you can make that decision. God bless if we go back to a place where we now need our husbands to help us like buy a car and get a checking account. Because it feels like we're trying to go back to that way of living. I had to catch myself because my mom was watching. All right, let me wrap this up real quick. Danny says, I wish my son would call me by my first name. Girl, we just didn't do those things. But everybody has our own way of parenting, which I would love to get into that too. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it all out. Because there are some different things going on. Like, parenting's a whole other rule. I would never do my parents. Yeah, right. Calling a parent by the first name, that's asking for something. It just feels odd to me. It feels odd and just disrespectful. If you ask me, like, it's just not where I go. Hey, she from mama. She keeps that PG-13 filter, right? I'm trying to do what I can do. But this weekend, when you're out with your friends, ask them. Like, if you have friends who are empty nesters, currently with kids, just ask them like how their life has changed once they had their kids. Did they change the way they dress? Right? I mean, we even see before, as I wrap this up, we see it on social media really quick. And I remember seeing some stories, some reels, some TikToks, whatever, where there were women who had kids when they were earlier, who are now living their life in their, mid to late 40s. They're like, it's my time. And so like mothers out there dancing and shaking. And it's like, you could have always had life that way. Unless you felt as if society would have said, oh, you should be at home with your kid. You shouldn't be out here doing blah, 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 blah. Oh boy, what can I tell you? I'm gonna say is this. This weekend is Keke's birthday. Shout out to the Virgo doing big things. Love the pettiness. Keep bringing it because that's what Virgos do. We can be petty. Okay, last comment here. I know when I was dating, I met a guy who said I was sexy, but once we started dating, he started complaining about me dressing too sexy. See, we got to bring it out. I know next week is supposed to be our last conversation to wrap up this season of Girl Listen. But I feel like we got to really talk about that possession thing. And Hainer, I want to get your thoughts about that chat with your wife in terms of maintaining the sexy. I want to dig deeper into that. That's what I want to know about. But that whole possession thing, I'm gonna say it again. There are people, this was not part of this conversation, but there are people, both men and women, I see more men than women though, who want to tame the wild birds, tame the wild Mustangs. They look for that. They look to find the people who are greater than and break them down. They look for that. They thrive on it. That in itself, God bless it. We got to. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Like real talk, thank you all for tuning in. This is Girl Listen. Again, yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so yes, I'm going to reach out to you, Hainer, so I can get all my notes together and everything, right? Get all my notes together. And then I will, of course, look at my own relationship. But my husband's pretty good. Like I said, not to be funny, but he did. He tried it once. I was like, bruh, do you know who raised me? Come on now. Come on. Seriously? Really? But thank you all for tuning in, for giving me your thoughts about this topic. Again, talk to your friends, your mamas, your grandmothers, the new mothers, and ask them how they feel about motherhood, and has it changed how they dress, how they work, how they live? Do they feel more pressure? I am curious, but this is clearly got to be a part 2 or something, because we're not going to get it all. We're not going to get it all. But again, Keke's birthday is on the 26th. That's this Saturday. Shout out to my cousin as well, who's celebrating his birthday on the 26th, and my Virgo brother, Bizza, who is also, the Virgos, we're just so awesome. But we will see you all next week. We are celebrating my dad. My dad and my parents, it would have been their 51st wedding anniversary, right? If you want to know about real love and living your vows, you should show up next week, next Friday. As my mama says, great show. We are going to be celebrating them next week. It has been a year since my father has passed away, and it has been definitely a year. But we're going to celebrate him next week on Girl Listen. It may not be the last episode after all, because I like to kick the hornet's nest. Until then, I'm going to enjoy the House of Brown Chardonnay, and you guys have a good evening.